and to be here with you all. This is like I want to say it's like a party with my favorite people, and I know it's an NA meeting, which has a primary purpose, but it also feels like a party with my favorite people. Charles, thank you for asking me, and thank you, Charles, Edmund, Jihan, Vimalan, and Will Zam for this for your service. Um, and I was thinking, so my voice is a little bit raspy because I think I have a cold or something, but hopefully it will hold. I was thinking how during the pandemic, the early days of the pandemic, Malaysia was one of the countries we came to. This was traveling tribe came to every week. And there was a Tuesday meeting, which was the speaker la meeting that had two speakers, one man and one woman, every week. And that was definitely a regular, we were there every week. But there was also the Monday and the Wednesday meeting. And more often than not, I also used to go to the Wednesday meeting. Monday, not so much. And it's fantastic to see so many of the people who were there then still here today. And counting more clean time 5 years later than they had then. And the sort of gathering together in fellowship that we do when we come into a meeting like this really just gets my heart going. It's one of the big reasons why I stay in NA, as well as to stay clean. Um, it's not even just a reason, it's part of what keeps me clean, because if this wasn't there, then I wouldn't really have the same connection to the fellowship. And if I didn't have the same connection to the fellowship, who knows what my recovery might look like. So amazing. And I know there's a Malaysia convention happening next year in 2026, February probably. And I've got my traveling boots on, so I hope to see some of you there in face to face as well. Um, so I was given a topic, and the topic was gratitude as a practice. And well, I saw the word gratitude and I thought this is great to share about gratitude. And then I also read the wording, it didn't just say gratitude, it said gratitude as a practice. One of the ways that I work steps is really to look at the words of the individual step and look them up in a dictionary, and then write my own definition and compare the two, just to get a better understanding of what it is that the step is literally saying before I sort of go into expand it a bit more. And so I was thinking about the word practice. And I thought it has two meanings for me. There is one aspect of practice, which is when I practice something in order to learn it. I might do piano practice, or I might do football practice, or yoga practice, or, choir practice. And what that means is that I turn up regularly. I have a plan, and every day, or every third day, or once a week, or whatever, I turn up and I exercise some skills in order to learn something. And through repetition of this type of activity, um, something that was new and maybe a little bit scary, and I thought I couldn't do it, becomes familiar, and I become more skilled at doing this thing. So, there is this element of practice, and I was thinking, like, what does it take to do this kind of practice? It takes some consistency. I cannot say that I'm going to practice the piano and just do it today and then not do it for another month. The likelihood is that I'll never learn to play the piano. And so there is a I don't particularly like the word discipline in NA. I know there was a reading the other day about discipline. I like to think of it more as a commitment. I make a commitment to turn up and do what it is that I need to do. I also need to have some kind of schedule, a plan. And also, where am I going to do this thing? Where is it that I am going to turn up and practice? And once I go there is some action I need to take. I need to sit down and write. I need to sit down and play the piano or kick a ball or whatever it is. Um, and this, for an addict who is very used to instant gratification, goes very much against the grain. Even it doesn't even really matter what the practice is about, but the whole structure of doing this teaches me some different ways of living life to how it was before, which was, let me score some drugs, let me shoot them up, and let me get high. And that was it, instant gratification. Even though we say instant gratification, and when I think back on my using, it was never instant. It was instant once I got the drugs, but to get the drugs, there were hours and days spent to get them. So kind of instant, I'm not really sure about it, but it's instant once the drugs were in my system. Um, so, so, um, so there is some type of patience, this attitude, this principle of patience, and that goes against the instant gratification. And there is an element of faith as well, that if I do this thing every 2 days, then eventually I will learn to sing or, play football or do yoga or whatever. And I think it's a little bit the same with gratitude, that as a selfish, self-centered addict who had just one thing in the mind, which was to use, I was not really thankful for anything. I might have been thankful for about 5 seconds when I got the drugs. But then there was this attitude of the world owes me, the world, it's me against the world. I am this alternative, cool dropout, living outside of society and like, I don't know what I am, this cool character living a Lou Reed song, and no gratitude there, I can tell you that. Then there is a different kind of practice. The second meaning of practice, as I was thinking about the word practice, is this when I put something into action. When I practice, I have learned something, and then I take some action which is based on this learning and the experience that I had learning. So maybe I have been practicing the piano for 2 years, and finally, I am in a concert, sitting. I'm not a pianist, by the way. I'm using this as an example. I'm just sitting there, I'm like in the concert, we're practicing the music. I'm practicing being a musician. I have learned what I needed to do, and now I'm actually doing it, And so, and this is a different type of thing, I think, from learning. It is actually daily applying something that I have already learned in the first stage of practice. Now I'm in the second stage of practice, I'm actually doing it in my daily life or in some practical kind of reality. Um, and and so just to sort of come into gratitude, what does that sort of actually mean, the sort of gratitude as a practice? And I think, as I say, initially, it's learning to have an attitude of gratitude, learning to move away from the self-entitlement that I had as an addict, that I deserve to get my drugs. I'm the person who really, it's my right to have my drugs. And then coming in and saying, there's recovery, and actually, it's not that I deserve it. I didn't really do anything to get one day clean. It was totally a gift, because one day I was using and I could not stop. And then the next day I was not using and I had one day clean. And this story is the same for everybody who has clean time. The circumstances are different, but the underlying story, last day using, first day clean, is exactly the same for all of us. So did I do something to deserve that first day clean? I didn't. I was using the day before. I didn't do anything to deserve it. It wasn't my right to get clean. It was a gift. So when I realize this, when I really realize this, I can only feel grateful because why me? On that day, why did I stop using? I have no idea. I had done nothing other than use up to that point. And so when I feel this, I can only say thank you in whatever way and to whatever entity is out there or is not out there or is in the program or is in the group. Thank you for this gift of recovery. And as I go on in recovery, then I know that there are certain things that I do actively to maintain my recovery. The things that we all know, like coming into a meeting like this, like opening my mouth and saying the truth, Andrew, I'm telling the truth. Like sharing with another addict, working steps, reading literature, doing service, all of these things is what actually maintains my clean time. We have this gratitude prayer in NA, my gratitude speaks when I care and when I share with others the NA way. And it's funny that, not funny, it's kind of sweet or something that we call it a prayer, because it's not exactly a prayer to someone, it just states something. It says, my gratitude speaks when I care, when we share with others the NA way. But when I think about that, it's so true, because my gratitude in NA is not for me to come here and say, I'm really grateful. It is more than that. Part of it is to come here and say, I'm really grateful. But what do I do about it on a day-to-day basis? How do I practically show my gratitude and express my gratitude in NA? And that, of course, is where service comes in big time. And I don't mean just service that has a name, because there are many unsung heroes in NA. There are a lot of people who do things to make things happen behind the scenes, and no one ever knows they have done it. Is this less of a service? It isn't. It's just as sort of vital to a group taking place and the meeting, the meeting taking place, the group staying stable, the message being carried, all of this. So my personal understanding of what it means for me to be a member of NA is completely related to my gratitude in practical terms in NA, to like, what do I bring in practical terms to my home group, to another group, to the fellowship as a whole, in terms of service. And you may not call it service, but what do I bring to the table to help carry the message and make this fellowship grow? I'm having again a whole bunch of those conversations I have had 1,000 times, and I think maybe one day I will no longer need to have these conversations, but I keep having them. It's sort of same, the old chestnut of clean versus sober, alcoholic versus addict. And I say, well, my gratitude speaks when I care and when I share with others the NA way. Is another fellowship bad? No, it isn't. I'm not comparing this fellowship with another fellowship, but I am here. I am an addict. I am in this fellowship. How do I share the NA way? Part of me sharing the NA way is to use the vocabulary that, like hundreds of addicts, got together through very arduous and time-consuming processes to write literature and come up with this different wording. To say clean means abstaining from all drugs. This is a program of complete abstinence from all drugs. And so do I share the NA way? You know, do I carry a confused message? And that's a big part of it. And let me see how many minutes. 3 minutes. I like the doggy. Thank you. Sweet. So yeah, caring and sharing the NA way. And as I say, this is not a comparison thing. I mean, today I was speaking with someone, not to go into a long story, but a friend of mine asked me whether a long story short, I had to speak with someone who is an addict and is also a professional and is looking after this other addict. This other addict is in their organization, their facility. So this is an addict I don't know, but someone asked if I could get in touch, maybe take them to a meeting or something, and this is what I did. So I had to have a long conversation with this professional about who I was, and why did I want to go see this other addict. And, you know, they were really checking me out, whether my purposes were legitimate or whether I don't know what. And in the process of having this conversation, he sort of started talking about their process, which involves, you know, just things, processes and substances and attitudes that are so different to NA. Is it better or is it worse? I don't know. I have no opinion. As a member in NA, I have no opinion. I have an opinion as a personal person, as a person, you know, outside of NA. But I thought, thank God I am clean. And I am clean in the NA way. And this is what I can share with someone else. I cannot share anything else. And that's part of, you know, tradition 5, our primary purpose. And also tradition, is it tradition 11? You know, public relations policies based on attraction rather than promotion, saying like, this is who we are. 1 minute, thank you. This is who we are and what we do, nothing else. This is the program. And just kind of stay with that and be grateful for that, for this very great gift of recovery. And I just remembered when we were, quite a few of us were in Bangkok in 2023, the convention, the Thailand convention, which was called A Gift of Life. And what a gift of life that was, meeting you, a lot of you, for the first time there. And yay! And I do, I really hope we meet again, probably in Malaysia next February. Lots of love, and thank you for asking me. It's a delight and it's an honor. Thank you.
Danai,
You
thank
are
you,
delight.
Danai.
Thank you, Danai.
Thank you.
Yay.